if you eat two different pre-workout meals with the same calorie, but one with a lower carbs and one with a higher carbs, would it make a difference in how many push-ups you can do or how long you can hold your plank? Well, I don't know. And I want to find that out. So for the next 2 days, I'm going to try two different pre-workout meals with the same calorie, and the only difference between them are the fat content and the carb content. Okay, now I'm gonna quickly show you guys the two meals that I came up for both of the day, and I try to keep them as close as possible in calorie wise. The only difference between them are the fat content and the carbs content. So the first day, which is the high fat day, with the 2 eggs, 35 gram peanut butter, and 10 gram protein whey. The macro of that will come down to 492 calorie with 11 gram of carbs, 26 gram protein, and 28 gram of fat. Okay, on the second day we'll have cooked rice, 2 eggs again, and another 10 gram of protein to keep the protein in the same zone. Here's the quick comparison between those two meals. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys the cooking process of day one. Let's go. So finally, I weighted 35 gram of peanut butter right here, 10 gram of protein weight, and I got 2 whole eggs here, of which I will fry. I'll be using cooking spray oil. It's only 9 calorie added on, so I added into the equation right here. Alright, let's get cooking. Got a little face going on here. Okay, now that it's done, just have to enjoy it. Enjoy it. Well, I'm just gonna have this with water later, so I don't have to eat it dry. But it's not too bad. I just have to eat 2 eggs and these peanut butter later, which I don't mind. Actually, I realized that eating peanut butter alone is absolutely horrible, so I did mine. So, I'll see you later. Finally, finished the egg and the peanut butter. Do not recommend it. If you have a proper recipe and you have everything all the ingredients that you need in the fridge, I recommend just cook whatever you want and don't copy me. I just grab whatever food I have left in the fridge and count out the macro for them. So next I'll be having the 10 gram of protein whey. That should be easy, and I'll wait 45 minutes to do the test. See you. Okay, it's been an hour since I had my meals, and right now I'm going to perform the test, see how many push-ups I can perform and how long I can hold my plank. I'll give myself a 5-minute break between those two exercises, and I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow, an hour after I have my second meal, which is the high carb meals. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, 5 minutes has passed. Now it's for the plank hold test. So I'll try to see how long I can go. Skip it. Okay. Okay, got my second meal right here. I have 2 eggs already fried, and I got my rice mixed with some soy sauce because eat it alone is kind of plain. There's only 4 extra calories, so I'm gonna add it on. Yep, and let's get it done, and I'll rest for an hour just like yesterday, and we'll see how it goes. Let's go. Okay, guys, so 1 hour have passed after I had my meals. So now I'm going to perform the test to see if there any difference between having a higher carbs meal on the second day. So let's go. Alright, I wasn't sure how many push-ups that was, but I'm gonna check the record. Okay, so 5 minutes have passed, and now I'm going to move on to the second test, which is the maximal plank. So let's get it. 1, 2, 3, go! Okay. Hey, I just want to say thank you for making it this far into the videos. So now this part, I'm going to speak my reflection. So how did I feel during each test? So just to summarize, on day 1, I have a high-fat, low-carb meals, which I had 2 eggs, 35 grams of peanut butter, a small scoop of protein, and that's come down to around 500 calories with a 26 gram protein, about 11 gram carbs, and about 29 gram of fat. Right after I had the meals, I felt like my stomach was a little off. I think that's might be because of the peanut butter. However, surprisingly, I performed the test quite well. I was managed to do 27 push-ups, and I was able to plank more than 2 minutes. So on the day 2 is high carb days, and I had a more classic meals I usually had before workout, which is 2 eggs, 237 grams of cooked white rice, and the whey protein. The macro is about 517 calories, 73 grams of carbs, 24.5 grams of protein, and 12.5 grams fat. And this time I feel fine right after I had the meals and up to before the test. However, when I started, I noticed that I was slushing. I feel like my arm was burning even faster than the low carb days, and I only managed to do 23 push-ups, and I was able to do only 90-second plank, around 90-second plank hold. So I expect to do better. However, I think that maybe because my recovery might be off between those 2 exercises. So next question, how did the research explain or contradict my experience? So this experience went against what I expect from the research. According to King et al. 2025, research said that carbonated ingestion is shown to improve resistance training and performance, especially in longer session or multiple set of failure are involved. They found that consuming carbs before resistant exercise can boost endurance and strength, especially in fastest or depleted condition. However, in my case, the high carb meal did not lead to a better performance. I actually performed worse. I think this could be due to individual variability in how carb utilized, or possibly because my recovery between set wasn't optimal. Again, the research also mentioned that the timing of carb and the number of the work set does matter. Since my workout was short and it was body weight, the carb might not have the same benefit as they would in longer gym section. However, on the second research of Impey et al. 2021, talk about the carbonated periodization and how individuals respond vary a lot. So now this research feels more relevant. And you can see right here, they note that carb need to be tailored to the training demand, and that a universal approach might not work for all of the individuals or the situation. So even though carbs are generally supposed to improve the performance, but in my case, they didn't seem to. This means that eating more carb isn't automatically better. It's about matching the type of exercise and carb need. Once again, what I did was body weight strength training, and it's not a very heavy glycogen dependent section. So feeling worse on carb day actually makes sense and match this view. Maybe in my case, I personally perform better with a lower carb meals before a body weight strength training section. So either way, the test remind me that the theory and the real life doesn't always match. So the third question is, what personal insight did I gain from this experience? One big takeaway for me is that fueling isn't everything. Recovery, sleep, and digestions all play a role. It's just having more carb doesn't mean that it will lead to better performance. And I also learned that tracking how I felt or how you feel is also important as the numbers. So that a low carb meal didn't sit well in my stomach. However, I still perform better than the high carb days, which tell me that there's a lot more going than just the macros. So going forward, I want to be aware of how my body reacts to certain food before trainings, and I will definitely focus more on making sure I'm rested and well recovered. It's also make me realize that there's no perfect one-way fit all for everyone. Everyone responds a little differently, and I think it's worth experience and to find out the best way that worked for you. And I plan to keep tracking how different food affect my energy level and recovery, so then next time I can feel smarter. Question 4, how you apply to what you learned to working with others. If I were working with a client, I'll definitely stretch the importance of individual testing and reflection. So what would work for one person might not work for another. I would try to recommend them experience with different pre-workout meal first and track both how they feel and how they perform, not just to rely on a general advice. Also, I would encourage my client to prioritize recovery and gut comfort, not just macronutrition ratio. If someone has a digestion issue, just like I did with the peanut butter, it wouldn't be so nice for them to keep doing that. And thankfully, I was only able to push through it because it was just only one session. So for a client with an endurance goal or they have a longer workout session, I believe a higher carbs still might help more compared to a low carb meals. But for strength and short duration workout, they might not seem as important. Over the top is lifestyle, culture, and personal preference should be a factor into personal life fueling plan. Once again, thank you everyone to making this far to these videos. I believe this is the end of the videos. So leave a comment if you like it, and thank you. See you next time.